Can I get, all right. If I can get, I guess, co-host capabilities, please. I have a slide presentation.
Perfect. Let's see. Screen. 1 second. Are we good to go, Darlene? Okay.
Almost. I just got to go ahead and switch over permission to Dr.
I think you have screen capabilities.
Okay, great.
Perfect.
All right. Well, hello, everyone. Thank you for coming today. Let's see if I can minimize this. Okay. All right. Again, thank you for coming today. My name is Dr. Joseph Heras. And I'm going to talk about SACNAS, right? So it's a Society for the Advancement of Chicanos and Native Americans in Sciences. And I'm going to say 3 things about SACNAS, right? So what is SACNAS? What is SACNAS to me? Me speaking about my own personal experiences. And then also too, where do we see SACNAS here at Cal State San Bernardino? All right, so this is taken from the website, right? From the SACNAS website. And what is SACNAS, right? What is this vision, right? And here it's achieving true diversity, right? And so meaning that, this true diversity, accurately and professionally reflects the demographics of the population, right? Especially here in STEM fields, right? Leadership roles in these STEM fields, right? STEM meaning science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. All right, so that's really sets up for the mission of SACNAS, right? It's an inclusive organization, right? So again, that invites all backgrounds, right? Again, to promote the STEM diversity, right? Of course, yes, the SACNAS, the origin of SACNAS, right, started off really encouraging, right, Chicanos, Hispanics, and Native Americans, especially in these STEM fields, right? Again, to promote, at the college level, right, and of course, up into professional positions, right? Again, advancing either through an advanced degree or career position, right, in the fields of STEM. Again, a little bit about the origin of SACNAS, right? So, back in the 1970s when SACNAS was founded, there was about less than 1%, right, of degrees in science were awarded to Latinos and Native Americans, right? And great, thankfully, today it has increased up to 7%, right? Still a lot of work to do. And I would say because of organizations like SACNAS, right, that have created and fostered a community for minorities and those that were not well represented in these fields, right, to encourage them and also promote them, especially in these doctoral degrees and also these leadership roles within the STEM fields, right? Also too, as you can see at the bottom of my slide here, right, which is an interesting origin story, right? So it was founded in 1973, right? There's a group of scientists, minority scientists, that met at a conference in New Mexico. And here at the bottom, it says, after attending a network event, right, they all got into the elevator together. One looked around and joked, right, if this elevator crashes, it will wipe out the entire population of Chicano and Native American scientists. Now, yes, that, maybe everyone laughed, right? But I guess this was a sense of reality of what was going on. And, this group of scientists kind of created that foundation for SACNAS to promote, STEM diversity, again, to really broaden and widen, to have multiple members, right, to contribute to our STEM fields. So this is also taken from the website, right? So there's a National Diversity Conference, right? Usually it's held every October. Last year was in Puerto Rico. This year it's going to be in Portland, Oregon, right? And this is something I'll talk about at the end of my presentation that I plan on attending, and I would love for our students to attend as well, right? And a little bit more about SACNAS now, right? There's a wide amount of members. in a sense, like, yes, we're talking about universities, but there's also government and industry organizations that have contributed or are part of the SACNAS community. Also, you see in the middle, right, there's 133 student professional chapters. That includes us, right? So we've established a student chapter here at Cal State San Bernardino as of last year. And so we're, starting up, this SACNAS chapter here, and there's a lot of work to do, but I guess it's very exciting to kind of see where we can develop the SACNAS community here at Cal State San Bernardino, right? And as you can see at the far right, 28,000 plus members, right? There's a lot of support for SACNAS, and that's nationwide, right? So that extends everywhere here in the United States. Also from the SACNAS website, right? Again, just thinking about STEM diversity, right? So just a little bit of information about demographics, right? So it's anticipated by 2060 that Hispanics will comprise of 29% of the population. For the Native American population is growing, but a lot of inconsistent or overlooked data, in the sense that there's not much information in regards to our Native American population. And if we look at the STEM workforce, right, in the sense of this is what it looks like today, right, and this is very disproportional in terms of what the demographics of what we look at for a lot of these minority communities, right? And so it's, organizations like SACNAS that are trying to promote and again excel, especially a lot of minority backgrounds or minority communities, to excel in in these STEM fields, right, to have leadership roles. All right, so I'm going to talk about it from a personal experience, right? So for those that know me, right, so I'm an assistant professor here at Cal State San Bernardino, the biology department, and I'm an evolutionary geneticist who likes fishes, right? If you've ever taken a course with me or heard of some of the work that I do, this is me at the California Academy of Sciences in San Francisco. They have a very pleasant display of rock fishes. And I do enjoy working with fishes and sharing that knowledge here with our students and my colleagues here at Cal State San Bernardino. But how did I get to this point, right? I didn't just overnight become this evolutionary geneticist studying fishes every day. And, I want to kind of take everybody back to 2005 to 2007. I was a master's student at our sister campus, so at Cal State Los Angeles. I would say maybe Pirates of the Caribbean was very popular back then. I don't know why I look like that, but I just want to say that this is when I started my master's. I worked on these marine organisms called ostracods. There's these small invertebrates, and my master's advisor is right there in front of me, Dr. Elizabeth Torres. And it was Dr. Torres that introduced me to the SACNAS community, right? This is my first exposure to SACNAS. And so I attended the SACNAS conference in 2006 in Tampa, and I was a part of the chapter at Cal State LA during this time. And one thing that I really noticed about going to this conference compared to a lot of other conferences that I've attended was the sense of a positive environment, very inclusive, very inviting, and a sense of a lot of individuals in higher positions listening to myself. In the sense they listened to what I was, my science, listening to what my goals were. And there was many people in my career, and including here or even within SACNAS, that were willing to help me try to get me to that next step in my academic career. So moving on to my PhD, I did my PhD at UC Merced, so in Central California. And as you can see on the far left, there's my PhD advisor, Dr. Andres Aguilar, and we mentored an undergrad student here. And during this time, these are very challenging times. I think even as a graduate student, I was challenged, and that's just, sure, the nature of a graduate degree. But I felt like I struggled and had, very strong imposter syndrome, right? This is something where maybe, not that sense of belonging, right? Did I belong in science, right? And that's something, yes, internally I always thought about. I went to a conference, this is over 10 years ago, which is called the Western Society of Naturalists. And this is a marine biology conference, right? And I gave a presentation, and I really bombed it. I really did a very poor presentation. I, feel very embarrassed. I'm a very big baseball fan, right? So here's a Clayton Kershaw, who's a starting pitcher for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Looks pretty down on himself because, he blew a game. But, just like this analogy that I'm using for baseball is that, like Clayton Kershaw and many people in sports or any another analogy that you may think of, right, is going back and still trying to perform, all right, to do better and maybe think of ways of how do you improve on your mistakes, right? And so that's this sense of encouragement that I was able to take on was that, okay, yes, I messed up here, but how do I improve? Now, I just didn't do that instinctively, right? That's not just something that just overnight that I thought, okay, I'm going to change myself. I would say that I also attribute a lot of that to a lot of my colleagues and my network. So the following year, and again, this is all during my PhD, I joined an organization very similar to SACNAS. So this is called AHI. So it's the American Association of Hispanics in Higher Education. And I was around peers, right? These are individuals that were obtaining their PhDs, professors that of Hispanic backgrounds, and they were very supportive, right? And they knew, had very similar situations occurred to them. And there was now this, I get this sense of belonging, right? So that, yes, I can, accomplish, my goals, my dreams, these are things that I want to do. And I had a very positive, community that supported me. Okay, moving up a little bit forward. So after I finished my PhD, I was a postdoc at UC Irvine, so not too far from here. And during that time, I kind of revisited SACNAS, right? So I went to the conference that was here in Long Beach. So it happened to be here in Southern California. And in this photo, this is my mother. She happened to sneak in and attend my presentation. And again, this is an exciting time to be part of SACNAS in the sense that I was, again, meeting a lot of individuals from all over the place, all over parts of the country. And also, again, there's a lot of people that were supportive of my goal of being, my dream is to be a professor. And so during that time, while I was at Irvine, I noticed that we didn't have a SACNAS chapter. And this is something that during that time at UC Irvine, many individuals also felt this need for a SACNAS chapter, in which so a lot of us came together and established a chapter in 2017. And even to this day, that chapter at UC Irvine is thriving, is doing really well. And I attribute a lot of, yes, there's a lot of groundwork that was established, that I had put in, but I also had the supporting, faculty, postdocs, and grad students that really kind of laid the foundation for the SACNAS chapter. And I was really excited to be a part of this, founding group at UC Irvine. Right? So with that really kind of inspired me to, again, to help out and promote, SACNAS here at Cal State San Bernardino. And this year, right, I'm very fortunate to work with all of these undergrad students and graduate students in the development of our SACNAS chapter. So these are our SACNAS officers for this year. So it's been great working with Richard, Delilah, Michelle, Alondra, and Lauren. And of course, I want to give out a shout out to David, who kind of also helped out in previous years, right? So this is something that I've been talking to a variety of different faculty and also our dean about the development of SACNAS. And so even David kind of helped us in previous years to kind of get this chapter up and going. And of course, our SACNAS organization also has been widely supported from a variety of different faculty, staff, and of course our dean, in terms of trying to develop this SACNAS chapter, right? In the sense that, yes, I think with the pandemic, it has been very difficult to start the chapter, but I would say within this particular academic year, I think there's been a lot more opportunities, a lot more chances to kind of start thinking about how we can increase our network or community, and also really hone in on the vision of SACNAS and what that looks like for for our community here at Cal State San Bernardino. Just last semester, right? So we had an informational session at the beginning of the fall semester, and also we had a plant drive during Dia de los Muertos, and so then there's several other activities that have, SACNAS has developed in these past couple of months, and of course there's a lot more that that we're thinking about for this semester, and of course thinking about that national conference that I mentioned. Again, so what does SACNAS look like here at Cal State San Bernardino? Of course, thinking about, if students, right, if you're want to get involved in research, right, of course, we can help out with, trying to pair you with a mentor advisor, right, to conduct, research in STEM fields. Of course, developing that network of both, students, faculty, and professionals within STEM that, here that extends here, and also hopefully extends out into the Inland Empire, right? Or here, our community here in Southern California. Opportunities to engage with the community, which encourage and promote success of undergraduate students and master's students, right? Just like I had mentioned when I was a master's student at Cal State LA, when I went to that SACNAS conference, right, and felt a sense of belonging, a sense of that there were leaders that were willing to work with me and help me to get me to that next step. That's the community that I would envision here at Cal State San Bernardino. And I think we're doing that, especially, discussing this with a variety of different faculty and staff members of how do we promote this type of success here at Cal State San Bernardino. Also, too, help students with professional development, right? Like I mentioned, right, that yes, I was very bad at public speaking, right? That was something I've struggled in the past, right? I think that's something I always felt like it was, difficult for me to even create a story or, to kind of give some type of engaging presentation. And this is something that, yes, I would love to kind of develop workshops with, whether it's, presentation skills or development of a CV, that really would help you, even if you apply for graduate schools or if you apply for, a career, in government or in industry or whatever it may be. All right. Also, to provide information on career opportunities. That's the great thing about SACNAS at, sure, at the national level, that they're always sending out information on, on job postings, right? Again, both within the government and industrial sectors. Provide information on graduate studies, right? If you do get the chance, to attend the SACNAS conference in October, there's a large expo in the sense of a variety of different recruiters from multiple universities come out, and in which they can probably provide better guidance on funding, on how to apply to these programs, maybe talk a little bit about the type of research that's being conducted at those universities. And I would say that this is a great start, especially if you're thinking about grad school. And lastly, here, this is something that, yes, here at Cal State San Bernardino, and I would love to work with a variety of different individuals, right, both at faculty and staff and our students, right, but these opportunities to apply for funding to travel to the national conference. Even if you look at the SACNAS website, there's even a link or a portion that talks about how do we fund the conference, or how do we start planning for that, right? Yes, I know the conference is in October, but I think, especially planning even starting now, that will allow us to have ample time to be prepared, right? To, of course, to provide that funding for travel, for your food, for your lodging, and of course, the registration for the conference. I do plan on going to the SACNAS conference myself, and I would consider myself as, as the faculty advisor here at the chapter. I would love to be that liaison person of contact to kind of help, students, guide them through this conference, provide any, suggestions of which talks to attend, or maybe talk to certain individuals, especially about in regards to what your career path is, right? Also, too, if you want to know more about SACNAS, we have an MS Teams channel, so that's SACNAS at CSUSB. We also have a Twitter account as well. And if you are having trouble accessing these contact points, you can also email me as well. And with that, I'll take any questions.
Yes, Lynn? Oh, sorry, you're clapping. I thought the hand raised.
Sorry.
Anybody have any questions?
I also wanted to highlight or note that Lauren also mentioned the Instagram. I apologize. There's also an Instagram account for SACNAS as well.
Well, thank you, Dr. Heras. We truly appreciate you coming. Oh, we have a question. Are there any requirements to join SACNAS?
Not really requirements. I know that there is a registration fee. There's a $10 registration fee for students. And usually that's something that I know that I believe, well, through the dean, and I now believe through the Science Success Center, right? That's something we're working together to get that paid for, that it doesn't come out of the student's pocket, that it comes out through the university.
Correct. The Science Success Center is, and we'll have a link put in the chat that if you're a part of the Science Success Center, we have those fees to be paid for as long as you're a part of our Science Success Center program. Any other questions?
Yeah, I had a question.
Uh-huh.
So you spoke about how we could get research opportunities going to the actual SACNAS event and going to their expo. Are there any external ways to get information on any research opportunities that don't include going to that expo through SACNAS?
I think I recall, and again, I know that it's been challenging because of the pandemic. I recall for last year's SACNAS, like let's say you can't attend the conference in person. I believe that there is like an online expo through SACNAS. So let's say you can't physically go there because for a variety of different reasons. I think there's an actual online forum where, I guess a virtual forum, where some of those recruiters may stick around for a week to kind of answer questions about that.
That sounds great. Thank you.
Thank you, Alfred. Our next question is, how often does the SACNAS Club meet?
I don't know. Lauren, in terms of the officers or also some of the events, would you have, I guess, a little bit more to say? I know I've met with the officers probably, 3 times or twice during the last semester. And so we are also still trying to develop, this semester's meetings as well.
Yeah, we're still trying to organize events for this this semester. We're hoping at least like an event a month. But yeah, we're still planning.
Okay, thank you, Lauren. And then do we know where the expo will be this October?
So as part of the conference itself, so the SACNAS conference, that includes that expo that I was mentioning. Like, as sure, there's talks of in terms of research, poster presentations, oral presentations, presentations in terms of promoting diversity, and then also too at these during the conference, there's usually an expo where again, there's a variety of different recruiters, both for graduate studies and also for companies as well, to give more information about their respective programs.
Thank you. Any other questions, anyone?
Hi, I have a question. Thanks, Dr. Heras, for explaining everything. As you know, I'm graduating soon from my graduate program, and I was just wondering, is this more for like current students? Because I do want to take some time off before going into my PhD. So I don't know if during my time off, if I would even be able to be in this program.
Now, I mean, you could be part of SACNAS this semester, right? And that's something, sure, whatever opportunities as a student. And that's something I know that either I can look into and also talk to a variety of different individuals about in terms of funding, right? I know a lot of funding when it comes to someone that's not a student, right? Usually there's kind of a cutoff there, because usually most funds would be for any registered students. But I don't know, that's something, again, I can look into, or, and ask a variety of different individuals to see, sure, if we have an alumni, those that have recently graduated, can we still get them to the SACNAS conference? The SACNAS conference, you don't have to be a registered student. I mean, there's working professionals that are part of the SACNAS conference, right, that they do get to attend, right? So you don't have to be a student, right, to be there. And again, it's to promote diversity. And sure, it's from an academic realm, but STEM fields also extend out into government and industrial positions as well.
Thanks.
We have another question. Do you know when abstract presentations are due for this year's conference? Does all research qualify for the abstracts?
That's a good question, in the sense, like, I know that abstracts are probably going to be due pretty soon. And that's something I can post either again on either our Twitter, or maybe we can also post that on Instagram and our MS Teams. But I know that should be coming up pretty soon. And again, for the research that qualifies for it, that extends again a broad, if it's within the STEM field, right, then yes, that it's a pretty large conference. And again, it spans a variety of different STEM fields. So of course, I know it as a biologist, right? I know there's quite a bit of biologists that attend, but there's of course also mathematics, chemistry, physics, and a variety of other fields that attend this conference as well.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Yeah, Francine, I do want to ask a question just to clarify for our students who fill out this survey to participate in SACNAS. Once a student fills out their survey, when can they expect to know when those fees are going to go through and they'll be part of the organization?
So today is the last day to submit tentatively for the professional organization if you're part of the Science Success Center program, and then we will be working with the dean's office to get those put in and submitted. And once we have them officially submitted, we will notify everyone.
One thing I kind of want to add to that, and this is a question I get a lot from students, especially in our bio department, that they're very interested in either like the medical field, right? So what SACNAS network or opportunities can they provide for any pre-med students, or especially in a professional these professional fields. And one thing that, and sure, I'm a biologist, right? I study fishes, so I don't know too much about that. But one of the things that I have found is that they have these like mentor-mentee pairings, and this is done if a student has the membership fee paid for, or is a member for that particular year. And so I don't know how extensively these mentor-mentee programs have been working, but I know that this is something they've developed within recent time, especially if there's someone that's interested in going in the medical field, that they try to pair you up with somebody else that's within that profession, or hopefully a doctor or someone that's maybe in medical school or at that level.
Thank you. Any other questions that anyone has at all? Well, thank you, Dr. Heras. We truly appreciate you coming to speak. We loved hearing your story, your lived experiences, and all the information on SACNAS. As a reminder, everyone,